Chess has been an exciting game that always released chemicals in my brain that made me realize how fun it is. It is probably the same reason why people play games like Sudoku or crossword puzzles. In chess, you have a total of 16 pieces at your disposal, as well as your opponent, for a total of 32 chess pieces played on a board which has 64 squares, with half being white and half being black. This game has a long and timeless pastime throughout the ages. There are many volumes of chess books with the sole purpose of improving your chess play. In chess circles, there are beginning players, intermediate players, advanced players, masters, and grandmasters. I believe I'm an intermediate player who would, like most chess players, like to become a master or grandmaster. Chess hits close to home with me, for I really think it had a way in helping my brain develop critically. I can remember a lot of the chess games played at school, and I had a teacher who would play us chess as an academic exercise. My critical thinking skills have developed as a result of playing chess. As a teacher, I would also like to create a chess club as an extracurricular activity where kids could play a game that would help them use their brains in an analytical and fun way. Much better than solving a math problem. I suppose the best way to answer the abstract of this research will be in the form of a formula or a step-by-step methodical approach that any person can follow. Every person who wants to become a decent chess player must have a basic understanding on how to play the game. There are 3 stages or phases in chess. The first phase is commonly called the opening game. This is where you develop primarily your main pieces, bishop, knight, queen, and rook, into a position by moving each piece once. Moving a main piece twice in the opening is usually considered bad, for if your opponent develops each of his main pieces one move each, but you had moved one of your main pieces twice, this would mean that you are behind in your development and your opponent will finish his opening or beginning game first, which allows him to transition into the next phase of the game called the middle game. The middle game usually starts after one or both of the players' castles. This is where the king gets tucked behind his pawns on the king or queen side of the board while bringing his rook on the opposite side of the king. In the middle game, you are trying to maneuver your pieces in a tactical way that will allow you to execute a crushing attack on your opponent's king. The end game is where you commence this attack on the king's position with the aim of checkmating your opponent's king. Checkmating means that you have taken every possible square away from your opponent's king to move to, while bringing a piece that initiates the check. Players who want to improve in chess need to work on all 3 phases of chess if they hope to be a decent chess player. In every serious chess player's library there should be some kind of opening book, for there are many different openings with many more variations of those openings, which complicates the game of chess even further. One of the things I researched was a website that had the top 10 winning openings for white and the top 10 winning openings for black. These calculations were computed by a computer that analyzed 2 million games with these openings. I figured that if I can learn these openings, then that would increase the probability of my winning in the game of chess. Another essential thing to study in chess is books that focus on one of 3 phases of the game or all phases of the game. These books go into specific do's and don'ts of the game. For example, there's a basic rule that you should never start a flank attack while you can still advance with your central pawns. Only when your central pawns can no longer advance any further do you then engage with an attack from the flank. It is important to be able to play against opponents of various strengths in the game of chess. There are many different websites where you can play against players like Yahoo, RedHotPawn.com, and even Facebook. However, there can be a drawback to playing chess on these websites, and that is that you may not play many good players. Playing a lot of bad players can stunt your chess growth. I strongly recommend purchasing Fritz 12 for the serious chess player. You can find it at CopyMax or Amazon for $20. It also comes with a free membership to chess.com. This will allow you to always play against stronger and more serious players, which will help you improve your game. Most of the data that I have collected is from playchess.com and also from pogo.com. Before playing on the prestigious playchess.com, I played mini games of chess on pogo.com, which is a free website for games of all sorts. My statistical data for chess games played on pogo.com is as follows. I really wanted to improve in chess and advance to the next level, so I started pursuing ways to improve my chess skills by the steps I have laid out through this presentation. Again, the methodical steps are: 1. Know how to use the higher percentage winning openings and how to transition from those openings to the other phases of the game. 2. Read books that focus on each phase of the game, which include the do's and don'ts. 3. Play against stronger chess players. 4. Repeat. When I learned that there was a top 10 openings for black and for white, I decided to learn the number 1 opening for white, which is the Queen's Gambit, and the number 1 opening for black, which is the Sicilian Defense. I used my Modern Chess Opening Edition 14 to examine these openings and to learn them. With this new knowledge, I went and played chess on the prestigious playchess.com. I had played for several months, and here are the following results. The numbers on the y-axis are the rating level. The numbers on the x-axis are the number of games I have played. My current rating is 1105, after battling it out for 265 chess games at a time setting of 5 minutes. However, my rating on pogo.com is 1349, after playing 359 games at the time setting of 5 minutes. At first glance, if you compare my rating of 1349 at pogo.com, which is before I read more books and done more research about things like the top openings for black and for white, and compare that with my rating of 1105 at playchess.com, you would then conclude that the research I have done did not really help out, but instead made me worse. However, there is something really important to distinguish between the two sites. Pogo.com is a social website with players primarily from the United States, whereas players at the playchess.com are composed of more serious chess players from around the entire world. And in other words, it should not be considered a shock that my rating has a 244-point difference between these websites given this information. A picture that captures these differences would be like a high school football team that plays against a Pop Warner football team.